let's start with spiritual health. And my number one thing that I do with you all as soon as we start is spiritual hygiene, and that's breath work. It doesn't matter what religion you believe in. If you believe in religion or spirituality, it doesn't matter. But the first thing is your breath. The breath is the free tool we have to regulate our nervous system. And with all this stress and uncertainty and fear, if we don't pay attention to our nervous system and how to regulate it, we're missing a free asset that can take our health and wellness to the next level. So let's talk about it a little bit. Let's break down the breath. So when it comes to our nervous system, we have the sympathetic and the parasympathetic. So the sympathetic is when we need the energy in the morning. We want to be revved up. We need to go get stuff done. We're in the sympathetic. Parasympathetic is when we're relaxing. It helps us rest and digest and just be calm. And so our bodies can relax and recover. Well, most of us are in the sympathetic, are really taxing our sympathetic nervous system because we're in the sympathetic all the time. From the moment we wake up, we get that coffee, we get that energy, we're go, go, go. We're stimulated by our phones all day. And then when we go to sleep, we're still stimulated. And that's why a lot of us can't get to sleep. So I'm going to give you a practice because some people are the opposite. And some people are like, I'm tired. I have no energy. I can't start my day without a stimulant. So the first thing that we're going to do is we're going to go into what's called the breath of fire. As most of you all know, I teach yoga, and this is a practice that I learned during my yoga teacher training to help regulate and energize the body. So if you're weaning yourself off energy drinks, you're weaning yourself off coffee, or you just want to take a little less, I want you to try this energy breath regardless, but notice how it stimulates you before you needing an outside stimulus. So what you're going to do now, if you just had a big meal, I want you to go really light on this or just watch and do it later. Otherwise, if your stomach is not feeling bloated or feel like there's some space, you can do it now. So what we're going to do is we're going to take 25 breaths. You can do it through the nose or through the mouth. I'm going to show you both, and you're just going to blow out. It sounds like this. And what I'm doing as I exhale is I'm pulling my navel into the spine. And it's called the breath of fire because it brings fire into your belly, your gut. This increases your metabolism. It improves your digestion. So if you have digestion or gut things going on, this can be very beneficial. So we're going to do 25 breaths, or you could do it through your nose. And I'm not worrying about the inhale. The inhale is passive. It's going to happen on its own. I'm just exhaling. And it's called the breath of fire. Okay, so we're going to do 5 of those. Ready? And with me, start the breath. And then slowly relax, gently close your eyes, take a deep inhale through the nose. And exhale, sigh it out. Notice how your body feels. Notice if you feel any tingles, any slight stimulation. And if you're hot, this probably made you a little bit hotter. If you're cold, it made you warmer, but just notice how you feel in your body. And then slowly blink your eyes open. And now let's try the opposite one. So if you did the nose, do the mouth. If you did the mouth, try the nose. I'm just getting over clearing out my sinuses over the weekend, so my nose is a bit congested, but I'm still going to do the breath because it also helps you clear your sinuses at the same time. Okay, we're going to do 25 more. Ready? And begin. Then deep inhale, exhale, sigh it out. I invite you to close your eyes or gaze gently at the ground as you feel how that activates your body. Just breathing normally now, relaxing your shoulders away from your ears and lifting your heart. With the eyes closed, looking to the left and to the right, releasing some tension behind the eyes. And then coming back to center. Okay, so you can do that if you're falling asleep at work, or if you're like, okay, I gotta be up to read my child this last book before bedtime. You can use the breath of fire anytime you need energy. Maybe you don't have time to go grab anything, you're hungry, or if you have a problem with your digestion, 30 minutes before you eat, try the breath of fire and see how it works. So I'm excited. If it was your first time hearing about the breath of fire, let me know in the chat. I know a lot of people have heard of it or haven't done it in different ways. But if you use it, it can be a beautiful tool that you can use your entire life, and it's absolutely free. Now we're going to do something called the circle breathing. Now, the circle breathing is going to stimulate their parasympathetic nervous system. Got all these slips of the tongue today. And so the parasympathetic nervous system is going to help you rest and digest. So this is good if you need a break, you want to go on break. This is good right before you go to bed to get a deeper sleep. So this is something you're going to do. And if you get in an argument or if you have anxiety at work, you do the circle breathing and you'll notice, I feel so much better. I feel so much better. I can breathe. Okay, so we're going to try that. Now, this breath is called the circle breath. It's going to go in through your nose and you're going to exhale through your mouth. And it sounds like this. And I want an audible sigh. Inhale through the nose. Audible sigh. Inhale through the nose. Audible sigh. You want to do 10 breaths just like that. Inhale. Count of 5 in. Count of 7 out. 5 in. 7 out. 5 in. 7 out. Then now close your eyes and relax. I don't know about you, but I feel even calmer now. Just feel how it creates this sense of calm. Again, it triggers your parasympathetic nervous system saying, we're okay. There's no fires. Life is good. I can relax. And slowly blink your eyes open. So this is really beautiful thing to do before you do meditation, before you sleep. Also, if you find yourself revved up and sometimes you have anxiety and you can't eat, you can do the circle breath and all of a sudden you can feel calm enough so that you can eat. Because if you try to eat when you're having a lot of anxiety, it can actually negatively affect your digestion as well. And so doing this breath, the circle breath, can help really calm you down, get your stress levels down so that you can communicate, so that you can eat, and so that you can sleep. When you do those things, eating, sleeping, and communicating, we just did conflict resolution last month, you want to make sure you're in your parasympathetic. You want to make sure you're not stimulated and you brought yourself to an equanimous state is what we call it in yoga. You just have this equal state of, okay, I'm not too revved up and I'm also not sleepy yet. We are going to start this session with some calm, right? Because that is the title. So how I like to start my business meetings or any meeting that I have online is with a little bit of breath work. So I'm going to ask you all to join me. I want you to place your right hand over your heart. Now, if you're driving, just do the breath. You don't have to do any movements, but if you can, place your right hand over your heart, your left hand over your right, and gently close your eyes or gaze softly at the ground. I want you to take a deep inhale through your nose and exhale, sigh it out through your mouth. Another deep inhale through your nose and exhale, sigh it out. Last time, inhale through the nose and hold the breath. And exhale, sigh it out as slowly as you can. Slowly relax your hands down and blink your eyes open. So did you feel what that did to your body? The power of our breath has the ability to bring calm at any time. So I highly suggest, especially we're all running from one Zoom to the next, or now some of us are traveling, when you start your meetings or family conversations, just with breath work or even holding someone's hand and gazing in their eyes, this brings a sense of calm and centeredness and connection to whatever it is you're doing. So I love starting like that. Sometimes Brenda gets me so amped up, or I'm so excited that I forget. And I was like, oh, wait, let me go back to the breath, because the breath will center you in your purpose. The breath will center you in divine alignment, which is what I talk about a lot, is really divinely aligning in each moment. And one thing that can bring you there, even when you're super excited or super frustrated, is the breath. So there's power in the breath to bring that calm. And that's kind of my first direction I wanted to go. When I was preparing for this class, I was thinking about, okay, calm, striving, and productivity. And that calm piece, especially when you're a highly productive, ambitious, on-the-go person, sometimes we miss that calm piece unless we're specifically doing yoga. But I highly suggest that you bring it in to everything you do. Before you get started, you just find the breath, close your eyes. And just those 3 breaths is enough to bring yourself back into that place of calmness, back into that place of divine alignment. All right, so with that, let's start talking about, in that divine alignment, let's start talking about purpose, right? Because we're going to be productivity. It all comes from the product of centering in your purpose. So when we talk about centering with the purpose, you want to make sure that everything you do, even if it could get off track sometime, is purpose driven. And so I want you to write down right now, what is your purpose? It doesn't matter what you're doing. If you feel like, Koya, I don't have a purpose, I'm not on purpose, you can go ahead and share that in the chat. But if not, I want you to write down, what is your purpose for today? What is your purpose? Are you clear what your purpose for today is? So you want to write that down. And y'all, I do this every single day. Every single day, this helps me align. So writing down what your purpose is. And I want you all to share it in the chat. Now that you've written it down, go ahead and share it. Because when we all collectively know our purpose and we know each other's purpose, we're able to align. So my purpose for today is energy. Like, I'm bringing energy in everything that I do today. All of the meetings that I have today, everything I'm doing, I'm bringing energy. Sometimes my purpose is to bring calm, bring awareness, bring groundedness. Sometimes my purpose is to educate. So that's my second, energy and educate. You can have more than one, but I usually start with that higher, like, what is it that I want to bring? How is it that I want to feel today? My purpose each day is to leave those I come in contact with better than I found them. I love that purpose. So go ahead and share your purpose. Find my unique tone. Beautiful. So I love it when you all are sharing live. When you're sharing live, not only am I seeing it, but you're inspiring other people that are looking in the chat. Now, with that purpose, I want you to think about, what will be the impact of you living that purpose, regardless if you're tired, if you get frustrated, if something happens. What will be the impact of you living out your purpose? Encouragement, consistency. And I want you to write down, what will be the impact, right? If I bring energy to everything that I do today, I'm going to inspire those who are tired. I'm going to inspire those who are going through grief. I'm going to inspire those. So that one purpose for today is going to help everything I do. So what will your purpose, how will that impact people around you? How will that impact the world? And the reason we're starting here, the reason I always start with purpose and spirituality, because I truly believe when you start with purpose and spirituality, that's your calm, right? That's your calm. And when someone hits your car, which my neighbor hit my car and he won't pay for it, so I'm not happy about that. But because my purpose is energy, we're just going to get it done, send it to the insurance, take the necessary step, because I'm rooted in purpose. I'm not going to let that incident take away from my divine alignment and my energy that I'm bringing, because I know that's impacting others and that's impacting the world. Does that make sense? So think about your purpose every single day. Wake up, write about it, talk about it, tell people about it. My purpose today, right? Because you never know who you're going to inspire. All right. And now let's talk about thriving, right? Thriving, not just striving, but thriving. Because when I think of striving, it's like I'm working hard, right? And everybody here, I know you're in this community, you're in GrowthDay community, you focused on growth, you are striving, right? But how do we thrive? How do we thrive? And one thing that I also do every single day is I make 5 steps that's going to help me thrive any given day. So what are those steps? So I want you to take a moment right now, and I want you to write down what you need to do this week to carry out your purpose, to carry out the purpose. 5 steps that you're going to do this week to carry out your purpose. So take some time. Your steps might be, I'm going to make sure that I am well. And y'all know that's my second pillar. When you're eating plant-based, when you're taking your vitamins and supplements that you need, when you're getting adequate sleep, you can thrive. Not only strive, you're going to do that. You're focused on growth, you're going to do that. But how do you thrive? It starts with being well. So what are the things that you're going to do? And y'all share these in the chat. I'm going to be reading off some of these things in the chat. What are you going to do this week to make sure you are thriving? And take your time to really write it down. Your purpose can be similar to your intention. That's a good question. So you can set an intention, and you can call it intention or purpose. It doesn't matter what you call it, whether you call it intention, purpose, your focus. Those all can be interchangeable, and they can all be different, right? So I do a lot of coaching where I'll say, okay, my focus is this, my intention is this, and my purpose is this, right? Or you could say, oh, this is my purpose for the day. It's very interchangeable. So if you're a very organized and very detailed oriented person, you like using a lot of words, you might want to break it down to 3 things. Or you want to say, oh, I'm just setting my intention, and this is my intention this is my intention all day, right? Being purposeful with my nighttime routine. I'm going to read out some of these really good ones. Being present, connected to those I love, to serve in my best efforts. Great job. So keep sharing. What are you going to do in the next week to make sure that you are on purpose? And what's so beautiful is that we have a full moon. Full moon is in Pisces. I don't know how many of you follow the moon cycles, but our ancestors followed the moon cycles, right? And we know when the days are shorter and it's cold, we want to stay inside. Our energy is lower. And we know in the summer, when we have more sun, the days are longer, we have more energy. So we know that we are affected by nature. I'm telling you, when I started following the moon cycles, my life got more energy, even more energy. So now that the moon is full and the full moon is in Pisces, it's a harvest moon. So now with all these growth day sessions you've taken, it's time to harvest. In order to harvest, you have to start thriving and not just going along, ticking off the boxes, but seeing, okay, what am I doing that's working? Being purposeful with my morning routine. I love these. Keep sharing. Reorganizing my food pantry, really smart, getting adequate sleep, intentionally moving every day. Good. So the more that you list, the more you're getting clear, and the more you're clear, the more you can thrive. Not only just going through the day, but starting to thrive by writing these things down, getting clear on what you need to do. I'm honored to talk to you today about friendships. And today we're talking about how to establish a holistic relationship. Because relationship, even though we have business relationship, then we have family relationship, then we have friend relationships, I do personally think establishing a holistic relationship is going to help you have a long-term healthy friendship where both people feel supported. And so the first pillar, and this is following our Get Loved Up pillars of spirituality, well-being, and entrepreneurship. So the first pillar in establishing a holistic relationship is spirituality. We all
come from different cultures and backgrounds. And if you're like me, I have friends from all over the world. I don't just stick to like one specific group. I have friends in different parts of the country, different parts of the world, different nationalities, different cultures. So what do they believe in? Do they have a specific religion or spiritual practice? Or, how do they connect in that way? And I know Brendan's community and my community, we're very spiritual based communities. And so do you know the culture of how this person connects? And the reason that this is important, because sometimes we can say things and we can do things and not knowing that it's hurtful to another one based on their beliefs. So having compassion, and if you want to establish trust, just knowing what a person believes in can help you have some compassion around things that are said, especially with so many things going on around in the world. It's really important. People are breaking up and canceling people so fast, makes your head spin, and even online. And the truth is, we just don't know what other people's preferences are. We just don't know how people were raised or how they grew up. And so if you really want to establish friendship, you have to ask questions. So what do they believe in, right? And you never know when they're like, I don't know what I believe in. Can you support me? Can you help me? And you might have been helping them with business, or you might think they have it all together, but really inside they're seeking a deeper spiritual connection. So I think that is just such a profound place to start, because I truly believe we're spiritual beings having a human experience, and we can do all kinds of things with our life. But at the end of the day, that spiritual connection will solidify a friendship, I feel, for life. So really finding out what is their spiritual affinity, what is their religion, what do they believe in, if anything, and being able to have that conversation, I think, is the grounds for a really strong friendship. And number two is, how is their wellness? A lot of times when we're hurting, like you might see someone grab their stomach every now and then, or every now and then grab their heart, or they might be complaining like, oh, I'm just having headaches, right? And you notice that they've been having migraines regularly. So noticing the signs when your friend is not okay, and they might say, oh, no, it's fine. I just need to drink some water, or it's fine. But I was just talking to my new friend, Marie Forleo, who I've been to B school and we're working with a lot. And she shared on the Get Loved Up podcast how, it was her friend that asked her, because she kept holding her stomach, and it was her friend that kept asking her, are you okay? And then finally recommending that she go to the doctor, that she found out a health condition that she had, and how it was so integral for her to go and get checked up at that time. So you never know, if you see a friend that is hurting, headaches, clutching their stomach, clutching their heart, encourage them to go see a healthcare professional, especially at this time, because with all of the stress going on at this world, there are a lot of, like, it's not just a regular diseases people are running into right now. A lot of things are happening because of stress. And this is called unexplained illnesses. Like, the doctors don't even have names of it, but different types of stress. You all know I love the book, The Body Keeps Score. So if you haven't read that, I highly suggest reading it. But that stress can trigger things in your kidneys, things in your lungs, all over the body, depending on what. It could be family stress, it could be work stress, it could be financial stress. But stress and anxiety and mental health illnesses are at an all-time high right now. So if you find a friend or a loved one is constantly dehydrated, constantly irritated, constantly even angry, like, all of these are valid signs that they are not well. So please, please, please don't overlook it, and suggest they go see a healthcare professional, or even a therapist. And I know that can get kind of touchy, so definitely test the waters. And I think one of the questions that I like to ask before I suggest anything is, how can I support you best right now? This is the best question to ask when someone's been through trauma, when something's happened in their life. How can I best support you right now? Because you might think, oh, they want to do this, they want to do that. But just asking, how can I best support you? Because they might say, I just need some space right now. And you're coming over with movies and television, and it might cause just more of a headache, or just not feeling like they can have some time to themselves. And then if you find that, hey, they've been having this time to themselves for a whole week and a half, and you go check on them and their house is in array and they're not doing okay, that's when you want to, recommend that they see someone, or just be there for them in person. And I feel like when you ask, how can I support you? Either they're going to say they need, you to be with them, or they need some space. And know that, either one of those things can change at any time. Nothing is absolute, especially when it comes to wellness, because if someone especially is experiencing mental health crisis because of the stress of the last year or stress of transition, then their emotions can go all over the place. And as a highly sensitive, intuitive HSI, I know about your emotions. 1 minute you're at a 10, the next minute you're at a 2, and then you're back up to a 10 again. So I can definitely relate to having a breath of emotion. And someone said, just stress. Yes, that is exactly what I say sometimes. When deeper things are happening, I'm like, oh, I'm just stressed, or I'm just a little frustrated. But then I talk to my therapist and they're like, okay, tell me about this thing. And they start digging. And next thing you know, yes, it was more than just stress. It's, I feel unseen. I feel unheard. I feel like, like Jamie was saying, like, maybe I don't feel seen, and I'm trying so hard. I was in a relationship and the person made me feel like this big. And now I'm afraid of another relationship. So sometimes we don't know. If you're not a professional therapist, you don't know. As a friend, you don't know. And also for yourself, you don't know. So I think it's really important to ask for help and to allow help, especially at this time, especially if you feel like you're fine. Everyone, I recommend, at this time, everyone have a therapist or a counselor or a holistic health practitioner that you're talking to on a regular basis, because as a country, we've been through trauma.
Hello, everyone. I love to start off all my sessions with grounding, because grounding in the breath, it grounds us not only individually, but also collectively. And that's how we'll start our oneness in this session. So if you will join with me, place your right hand over your heart and your left hand over your right. Take a deep inhale through your nose and exhale, sigh it out through your mouth. Inhale and hold the breath. And I want you to think of one word that embodies how you feel today. One word that embodies how you feel. And exhale, sigh it out. And the reason this isn't so important, and you can use that in the beginning of your meetings, whenever things are getting heated, just that inhale and exhale to bring yourself back to center, back to your purpose, back to your core. It can be that easy. I talk a lot about our nervous system, how we have the parasympathetic nervous system to calm us down, and the sympathetic to rev us up. And so when you do that mindful breath, it triggers your parasympathetic so you can rest and digest. So no, it doesn't matter if you had an argument before or you were as excited before, maybe just excited about your next place in life, but it brings you back so you can align with your purpose, so you can align with what you're really here to do. Because it's important to ask ourselves how we're feeling at every part of the day. I have this practice that I use, and I want to share with you what I ask myself every day at noon. And I have it in my phone, it's on alert. I ask myself 2 questions every single day at noon. And those questions are, how do you feel and what do you need? Again, how do you feel and what do you need? Because if you are anything like me and you're empathetic, you love helping people, you love giving, a lot of times you can get overwhelmed or you can overextend yourself, and you're done through half of your day. You didn't eat, you didn't drink, and you're just going on fumes. But if you have this alert in your phone that asks yourself, how do I feel and what did it? So some days it might be, how do I feel? I'm hungry, I need to eat. How do I feel? I'm frustrated, I need to take a break. How do I feel? So I want you all to think about that right now. And what you told me, how you feel, what do you need? Especially if you felt these different things, what do you need to shift that energy back to love? And I'll tell you my concept on love and fear right now as we kind of dive into oneness, because when it comes to oneness and that's connection with others, it starts with a connection to yourself. And I know you've heard it from every coach because it's the most important connection to yourself, and asking yourself how you feel. Because if you don't feel okay, then it's going to be hard for you to pour into someone else from a healthy place, or to help someone else without being exhausted. So it starts with you saying, okay, how do I feel? And then answering, what do I need? Okay. And now, once you focus on yourself and you have your needs met, you are fed, you are well, you are clear on your purpose, then and only then can you pour into others. So we have this mantra in my community, in my Get Loved Up community, and it's called love yourself, love others, and love the world, in that order. A lot of times we try to do great work in the world, and that's amazing, and we try to serve, but we haven't taken care of our basic needs. So we get drained, exhausted, and then eventually resentful, right? And so if we focus on pouring into ourselves first and most, and I love this quote from Lisa Nichols, fill your cup so you can give from the overflow. Allow others to sip from your saucer. And so when you focus on filling your cup with, mentally, spiritually, physically, with all these affirmations that we've gotten from all the different coaches, when you fill your cup with giving yourself enough self-care time, when you fill your cup with exercising and moving as much as you need, then you're giving from an abundant place. It's from an abundant place, not from a space of scarcity. So I invite you, when it comes to oneness, to ask yourself first, are you taking care of yourself? And then when it comes to others, it's really about acknowledging. And that's something that hopefully everyone learned in the last year. We don't all think alike. We don't all move alike. We all are uniquely different. So being able to acknowledge someone else's experience, even if it's different from ours, is the key to oneness. And I want you to write that down. Acknowledging someone's experience, even if it's different than ours, is the key to oneness. Because we're not like, and honestly, if we were all like, it wouldn't even be fun. Our differences are what make us unique. Our differences are what makes the world beautiful. So the more that we really acknowledge someone's experience, and then ask yourself, well, is that something that I can learn from? Is that something that I want to incorporate into my life? Or is this something that's not in alignment with me right now? Because sometimes things don't align at the moment, but then a year later, you're like, no, you know what? Jenna told me that like a month ago, and I actually get it now, right? How many times have we said that? How many times have we went somewhere and it didn't align with us at the moment, but then after a couple months or a couple weeks, you're like, you know what? That totally makes sense now. And so when we acknowledge, we're just taking in information without trying to own it. We don't have to say it's ours. We don't have to say that's who we are, but we just receiving this information. Hey, GrowthDay community, how are you? It is so great. Like every single time I come on for GrowthDay coaching, it just lights my entire morning. So I hope you feel the same. I hope you're ready to dive deep. I hope you're ready to really get into, let me be honest with myself. Let me be honest with myself about how I'm feeling right now, because we're gonna get in there today. So if you're ready to get in there, go ahead and get your paper, get you a pen. You will be taking some notes, because we're really gonna deep dive and set you up for a great Q4, for a great rest of your year. And first, we're gonna start off. Those of you who know me know I like to start off with spirit. So we're gonna start off with the breath. So I want you to take a moment and just close your eyes, or gaze softly at the floor. Place your right hand over your heart and your left hand over your right. Take a deep inhale into your heart space. And exhale, sigh it out. Deep inhale through your nose. And exhale, sigh it out through your mouth. This time, inhale and hold the breath. And sigh it out as slowly as you can.
So grateful for this opportunity to come together, to grow together, to thrive together. We ask that our thoughts be guided, our words be guided, and our actions be guided. May they be in alignment with love consciousness. And so it is. Ashe. All right. So that's how I like to start all my meetings. And actually with my Growth Day coaches, I never started it like that. I was like, but why not? And I think because it's a different community, but I feel like I always want to be consistent and acknowledging spirit and getting us all on this vibration of presence, right? So thank you all who joined me for that breath and just centering. I want you to write down right now how you feel. This question is in my phone every single day at noon. It's 2 questions. The first one is, how do you feel? How do you feel right now? Do you feel excited? Do you feel sad? Do you feel tired? Do you feel drained? Do you feel anxious? I want you to write down, if you had one word to describe how you feel, what would it be? And don't take too long. Don't overthink it. I see some proud. I see some sad. Go ahead and share. I see excited, ready, tired, excitement and joy. So you see already, one thing that was put on my heart to share this morning was the reality of duality. Duality, the light and darkness in life, the fact that we're going through so much chaos in the world, but also we have an opportunity to realize, like one of my mentors says, we are the solution. Sadhguru, I just went through his inner engineering program, and I loved his concept of what if, no matter what we're going through, we realize that I, you, every single person, we are the solution. And if you approach life, the pandemic, what's going on in your family, in your relationship, being the solution, you might approach it differently. Because a lot of times we feel like we're the problem. I do too much of this. I do too much of this. I'm not doing enough of this, right? So we are the solution. And so with that, the second question that I have in my phone every day at noon, first one is, how do you feel? And the second one is, what do you need? I'm telling you, I have so many people that do this practice now, because if you're ambitious, which I know most of you are, you're ambitious, you're excited. You're like, I want to live life to the fullest. You know, we're all about Brendan's live, love, matter, right? So what do you need? Because we all need to be supported in a different way at a different time. I see guidance. I see closeness, friends. I want you to notice where you're at and what you need so that you can take these keys and apply them specifically and uniquely to your life and your lifestyle. Some people need energy. Some people need consistency. I love that. And so now that you're writing down, you're doing this self-reflection so you can take then the tips and say, okay, I'm going to use that in this way. Okay. So the number one thing, highly suggest, if you don't have a spiritual practice right now, highly suggest it. That can be meditation. It could be yoga. It could be reading a scripture or a book every morning for 10 minutes, whatever it is for you. It has nothing to do with religion. It has everything to do with calming down, going within, taking the breath like we did at the beginning of this session, and devoting some time for just silence, or maybe taking some time to consume something that you find inspirational. And the key part of inspirational is in spirit. It puts you in spirit, in alignment with something that's connecting us all, connecting nature, connecting us as humans, right? So if you don't have a practice right now, and it could just be 10 minutes a day, how many people can just commit 10 minutes a day to silence or your spiritual practice of choice? So it's not just on the weekends. It's not just on Sunday, because look, I'm a Southern Baptist girl. I grew up in the South. And on Sundays, we would get down, screaming and shouting and having fun. I'm feeling in the spirit. I'm motivated for the week. Let me tell you, by the time Friday get there, I'm just like, oh, I can't wait till Sunday, right? And so I've learned through my yoga practice is that I can align with spirit every single day. And I realized the power of that. Before I even start my day, I sit up in my bed and I breathe and connect, and I practice gratitude. So your spiritual practice could be just gratitude every morning. I'm going to write down 10 things that I'm grateful for. But I want you to commit right now, and I want you to write down what will be
your daily spiritual practice. Or you could say, if you don't like the word spirit, you could say daily gratitude practice. Like words are just what connects us, but doesn't define us. Only you can define, right? And so again, in the theme of duality, we all have different ways that we're going to show up in our practice. But I guarantee you, if you make at least 10 minutes, and yours could be 30 minutes or an hour, you are going to rock Q4 because you're starting in alignment with your purpose, with your truth. You're starting from a centered place versus waking up and you're on your cell phone, waking up and you're on the news. How many people cut on the news first thing in the morning? I don't even have a TV. I have a fireplace and a painting, right? So, I don't even have a choice. I could get it on my phone though. But waking up to connect and to breathe and to center is so important. So important. Our topic is how to let your fears make you fierce when it comes to fulfillment. Fulfillment is holistic. Again, fulfillment is holistic because you might make a lot of money, but you're not happy at home. You might be happy at home, but you can't make ends meet. You might be traveling the world, but still feel discontent. So we're really going to dive into different areas of life and really dive into some of your fears and some of those places where you might not feel fulfilled right now, but we'll talk about how you can get to that next level. So right now in your journal, in your phone, or in your GrowthDay app, I want you to make 3 sections. 1 section for self, 1 section for others, and 1 section for the world, right? Because to me, fulfillment, it covers all 3 S's. You want self-fulfillment, right? You want fulfillment when it comes to others. And if you're a part of this community, I know you want fulfillment when it comes to humanity and the world, and how the world is doing matters to you. So we're going to go over all 3 of those areas. But as you know, if you've coached with me before, everything starts with self. Holistic health starts with self. So we're going to dive into self-fulfillment at your root. And in yoga, in holistic health and wellness, our root is basically our center for safety and security. So what I want you to ask yourself right now when it comes to yourself is, do you feel safe? Do you feel safe? Do you have negative self-talk? Are you tearing yourself apart? Are you just judging yourself daily? Are you comparing yourself to others? I know we've been through all these things before, but I want you to honestly ask yourself, are you safe for yourself? Or are you your own worst critic? Do you constantly compare yourself, judge yourself? And hey, it's okay if you do, because I do too sometimes. Sometimes I wake up and like, dang girl, you're looking old today, slept on some makeup. And it's like, wait a minute. I look good. I have to go give myself a high five. Y'all all know Mel Robbins. Give myself some positive self-talk and reel it back. But this is a time, again, to be honest. So just be honest with yourself. Have you been comparing, down on yourself, negative self-talk? Just write that down right now. And just really take a moment to think about, what are some of those things that you're saying or you're doing that is not healthy for yourself? Because if you don't have that safety, if you feel like you're living in a place that isn't safe, that's really important. So how are you taking care of yourself? Okay, that's number 1. Now let's go to the next session when it comes to others. How are you connecting with people around you? Are you in an environment where you feel judged, where you feel less than, where you feel unsafe, right? This can be at home. Maybe there's a lot of yelling. Maybe there's abuse. Maybe there's things going on that you're like, this is toxic. So just take a moment right now and just write that down. Are you in a toxic relationship with others? And this could be your personal relationship. This could be work relationships. This can be community events where you go and maybe you are shaking, or you feel like, oh, I don't feel safe here. I don't feel like I belong here. So really be honest about your sense of safety when it comes to others. And then the third one is, do you feel safe in the world? And I have a story with this one, and this is honest. When I go home to Tennessee, this is crazy, but I do not feel safe as I do when I'm in California. Y'all, and this is a hard thing for me to admit because I'm looking for a house in Tennessee and I want to live there and I want to be closer to my family. But I'm going to show you while we're doing these exercises. And you can break down, like, well, some of you are like, oh yeah, I feel safe. But once you reach one, like me, we're like, ooh, I don't feel safe, or I had a feeling of unsafely. That's where I want you to deep dive. Why don't I feel safe? Why don't I feel as safe in Tennessee as I do in California? Right? I've experienced a lot of trauma in Tennessee. The system, the policing system, which, police brutality is a big trigger for me. I don't feel safe on the streets, right? So I know that is where I lack a sense of safety. So I can speak to that. And tell myself, I am safe, all is well, right? If you don't feel safe personally, if you feel like, man, I've been giving myself a lot of negative self-talk, then you want to look in the mirror and say, you know what? I love myself as I am. I am whole and complete. If you don't feel safe with others, then you need to decide, what do you need to communicate? Do you need to get out of those relationships? So ask yourself, when it comes to safety in those different areas, where do you need to make shifts? Is it you need more positive self-talk for yourself? You need to give yourself some positive affirmations. It could be, you know what? At the end of the year, I'm going to treat myself to therapy this year. I'm going to give myself a therapy session because I've been doing the affirmations. I've been doing the positive self-talk. And guess what? I'm still beating myself up. And again, I don't mean just occasionally saying something, but you know what it is when it's on a regular basis and you wake up and you go to bed feeling unfulfilled or not happy. When it comes to others, and I also have a story with this one. I was in a situation, a toxic relationship, a toxic work relationship where I felt like, hey, I keep saying this thing over and over. I don't feel like I'm being heard. I communicated. And even when I communicated, there was just a lack of connection, understanding, and that relationship had to transition. So this is not, this person rubbed me the wrong way. This is not ghosting. This is not judgment. This is, you feel a certain way. You communicated how you feel, and there's still discord, or there's still a separation. There's still a misalignment. So where in your life is there misalignment? And if you feel like this might be misalignment, but I need to communicate, then that's your next step. Your next step is communication. If you feel like there's a misalignment, I've communicated and I'm just not aligned with this person, but I'm still in the situation, then you have to ask yourself, do you want to take that energy into 2022? The biggest part of handling conflict starts with you, and it starts with you being well. And that's really where I'm going to dive in today, with really learning to handle conflict from taking radical responsibility. So I want you all to write that down, radical responsibility. And you might think in conflict, most of the time we think in conflict, we think of what someone did to us, how they said something, how they treated us. And we've talked in my other sessions about transformational letter writing and forgiveness. And we talked a little bit about how to deal with conflict before, when we talked about relationships and things like that. But today I really want to get to the nitty gritty of how to handle conflict. And it really starts with yourself, and it really starts with using some of those tools before you actually engage, especially if the conflict is already started, or before you jump into that conflict. So first, we're going to start with the breath. First, we're going to ground down, get ourselves to a nice and relaxed place with the breath, and then we're going to get into our topic. So take a moment to put your right hand over your heart, your left hand over your right, and take a deep inhale through your nose. And exhale, sigh it out. Again, inhale through your nose. And exhale, sigh it out. This last time, inhale through your nose and hold the breath. And slowly sigh it out. All right, relax your hands down. And so that is the first step. Seriously, the first step when you get into any conflict is to breathe. Number one is to breathe, and not just regular breath, but take a deep inhale through your nose and exhale through your mouth. That's called circle breathing. That's the first thing that you do so that you can de-stress, so that you can calm your nervous system, and so that you can come to a more mindful place. And I'm a huge proponent of responding versus reacting. A lot of times when you go right away, like, okay, this person triggered me, or this person said something, or this person did something, you can be reacting out of fear, out of sadness, out of judgment. You can be reacting from all these other places. But when you take a moment and take a breath, then you can respond from a mindful place. Okay, the first response is just take space. And everyone is different when it comes to conflict resolution. Some people like to, no, let's hammer this out right now. What did you mean when you said this, and go right around? But one that I like is to take space. And the reason taking space is my favorite, and the one I say is number one, is because you have an opportunity to think about your feelings and how you feel and why you were triggered, because we all have different realities. And when you have a trigger, then you get an opportunity, if you take space, to just discern, okay, why am I bothered? Or if you were the person that harmed someone else, you have a moment to allow them to think about why they were bothered, right? So taking space is the number one reaction when dealing with conflict. And the reason that's my number one, because it gives you time to process your emotions and to move from a place of responding versus reacting. So let's unpack that a little bit. So in the taking space, the first thing to do is acknowledge how you feel. A lot of people's like, oh, it's fine, I'm not bothered. I mean, that was mean, that was rude, that was offensive, but no, I'm fine, right? How many of us avoid? Just be honest. How many of us are just like avoiding, like, I'm fine, I'm happy-go-lucky. We're gonna spiritually bypass the fact that, you might mention ways that it was harmful, but you say, I'm fine. Right? And so my first tip is to acknowledge how you really feel. I was offended by that. I was actually harmed by that, or that didn't resonate with me, or that made me sad, or that made me angry, or that made me feel disrespected, right? So part of, what I've taught before in the transformational letter writing, if you haven't checked out that teaching on transformational letter writing, check it out. But it's acknowledging how you really feel. You can feel more than one way at once. You can feel disrespected, but at peace. You can feel sad, but in a place of love and compassion. So you can acknowledge an emotion that you don't feel like is the highest vibration of self and still be in a place of love. So I just want to just say that right now, because I think a lot of times, especially most people on this app, we're happy-go-lucky, we're positive people, positive mindset, but sometimes it's toxic positivity. Sometimes we don't want to admit when we're sad, when we're angry, when we're disappointed even. But acknowledging those emotions will actually help you respond in a better way, in a more mindful way, in a more compassionate way, in a more authentic way. Because if you respond from a place, you're sad or you're offended, and you say, no, it's okay, you're actually not being honest. Right? You're not being honest with yourself, and therefore you can't be honest with the other person. Like Brendan said, coming here, I just moved to Atlanta, moving into my new house, thought the internet was going to be set up yesterday. We'd be fine for today. Then I was like, okay, maybe we can knock it out in the morning. As the time started ticking, I'm like,
it's not going to be up in time. I got to find a plan B. I need a plan B. And I'm like, WeWork, because before the pandemic with my Amex, I got WeWork studios. I love the studios, but I didn't need it because I work from home. And so when I got in this crunch time, I knew that you can last minute book a room on your phone, fly into the building and just have your session. So I was like, all right, it's 20 minutes away. I'm getting in my car. I'm booking it on my phone. And I got here. But instead of just, pretending like everything's okay, I'm like, okay, I'm usually 15 minutes before, I'm like 2 minutes before setting up, and Brendan's helping me, Brendan's team is helping me. And it just felt so good to be supported. But if I had beat myself up, or if Brendan had got mad at me, wait, Koya's not 15 minutes out, we're going to cancel, a lot of things that could have happened. But I acknowledge hey, so sorry, I'm running late. And this is what happened. And they came up to help me, right? So when we acknowledge where we're at, when we acknowledge how we feel, I felt embarrassed, and I wish I had my beautiful background and all the things going. But I can acknowledge that. But no matter what, I'm showing up anyway, right? So when we can acknowledge how we're feeling in every moment, when we take that space, when we come back together, we get to say, okay, this is how I felt. And this is my emotions. And then you get to see how the other person felt. Next time we talk, I would ask Brendan, like, how do you feel? Are you good? I can apologize to him and just make sure that he's okay, right? Instead of just washing over the emotion, pretending like everything's okay, acknowledging how you feel will help you respond in a better way. And now, after you acknowledge, it's important to show up with an intention. Like, my intention was to show up and shine and talk to you all about conflict resolution. So no matter what, I came here ready to do that, right? And so because my intention is clear and I just had to figure out where I was going to do it and make sure I had internet, the intention is super clear. So when you have a conflict, a lot of times you can think, well, that person's trying to harm me. You get so confused thinking about why they did what they did or why they said what they said. You forget your intention. Right? So your intention is most important. Why are you in relationship with them? Why are you working with them? Why are they your friend anyway? If they're your family member, why do you love them? And why are they important in your life? So it's important when you get frustrated or when you have conflict to remember, after you acknowledge how you feel, remember, why are you there in the first place?
We are going to be chatting about finding purpose through getting loved up. And yes, my company is Get Loved Up, and that's love yourself, love others, love the world, in that order. It's no wonder a lot of people feel out of purpose or like they lost their purpose through the pandemic because we didn't know what was happening. We were uncertain. A lot of us lost our jobs, lost family members. So everything was all over the place. So it's normal that people felt like they lost their center. And so I'm going to take you through a journey of finding your purpose to getting loved up. And I'm going to do that through one of my favorite systems that I studied during my yoga teacher training and that I teach in my yoga teacher training school, which is through the chakras. And the chakras are just natural wheels of energy in our body. I also call them spiritual energy centers, and you feel them even if you haven't heard of them before. It's that lump in your throat when you want to say something, but you don't know what to say. It's that queasy feeling you feel in your stomach when you're a little bit uncomfortable. I'm going to really break down. It's really your body speaking to you and how we can start to listen to our body. And as we listen to our body, it can make sure we stay in alignment with our purpose. Because I firmly believe you don't have to find your purpose. I firmly believe your purpose is within you. So sometimes it can be a sort of finding because you kind of move all the weeds around it so that you can align with it. So as a spiritual teacher, as I was going through, the uncertainty and, mask on, mask off, all these things, it was my daily meditation, daily prayer, daily yoga practice, and daily rituals that helped me feel safe because I didn't know what was going on outside, and I don't know, sometimes we couldn't even go outside. I was wondering if things were happening in the air. So my spiritual connection and connecting with God helps me feel safe. So once you've written it down, go ahead and share it in the chat. What makes you feel safe? Another thing that makes me feel safe is friends and family. So having someone that I can lean on and someone that I can call, and maybe we can both feel scared together. So my friends and my family help me feel safe. And the last thing that helps me feel safe is my community, being able to get online and talk to my community and get loved up community, my GrowthDay community. Like, community helps me feel safe. So I see some of y'all checking in community, your family, your friends, checking in with your truth. Yes. Beautiful. This is really important, especially when it comes to purpose, because if we get thrown off by a job loss or death in the family or anything like that, in order to come back to your purpose and living in your purpose, you have to reattach to your sense of safety. But if you're like, oh my goodness, this is happening, now I have the move, or oh my goodness, I don't even have toilet paper, whatever you're thinking, it can throw you off, and you're just thinking like, I need to feel safe. Oh my goodness, I don't know what to do. You forget to live in alignment with your purpose. You might get angry, you might get upset. All those are natural emotions letting you know that you're not okay because you don't feel safe, right? So really grounding on remembering what makes you feel safe. So if you ever feel out of alignment, how do you get loved up? You go back to your root, and that's our first chakra, is your root chakra, and that's your sense of safety. And how the chakras work is actually build upon each other. We start with the root, and then we'll go to the sacral. And if you've coached with me before, I talk about the chakras a lot, and we go all the way up to the crown. And again, these are natural. Every single person has these energy centers in your body, and we can all use them so that we can know when we need support, when we need to get loved up a little bit more, when we need to pour into ourselves. Someone said they feel safe inside a hot yoga studio. Yes, that really does feel safe to me too. All right, so now we're going to go to the second chakra, which is your sacral chakra, and that's your sense of expression. So we're feeling safe, and the next thing is feeling like you can express yourself, right? Because I truly believe in the world, if you look at nature, if you look at people, we're all meant to express ourselves fully in whatever. Some of us sing, some of us dance, some of us teach for a living, so whatever it is you do. But I find purpose through expression, right? How many of you find purpose through expression, or expressing makes you feel like your life has a purpose? Yeah, I see some hands. So think about expression right now. What is your favorite way to express? A lot of times when you feel like, I don't feel on purpose, once you ground down in your safety, if you start singing, dancing, wearing colors, painting, writing, you'll start to get loved up, right? By doing what you like to do, by expressing, and then it'll start to become clear what is rising to the top. Because I'm a multi-passionate person, as you almost know, and a lot of things make me excited. I love to express through writing. I love to express through speaking. I love to express through dancing. And at different times in my life, different ways of expression bring me joy, right? And so when I start doing a little bit of each of them, the one I like the most will take precedent. And the more that I do it, the better that I feel, the more in alignment that I feel. And if you think about it, when you start to express yourself, you're releasing tension, you're releasing anger, you're releasing all of these emotions that don't serve your highest and greatest good. And you feel more aligned with who you truly are and your purpose, again, that is always within you, right? So the next time you're feeling like, oh, I'm so down, I'm having a dark day, I don't feel great, look at your list today. And this is a list that we create today, you all. I want you to come back to this list every single time you're not feeling okay. And remember what makes you feel safe and secure. What makes you feel fully expressed, or what are your favorite ways to express? Beautiful. Mentoring others, creating new content, journaling. I love it. Okay, someone said coffee. I love it. I don't know about that one, but
fair. Awesome. Okay, so let's keep going to the third chakra. And the third chakra is your solar plexus or your center, right? A lot of times when we don't feel safe or we feel challenged, we start to get this gut feeling like something is not okay, right? And that's our gut, that's our solar plexus telling us we don't feel in control, we don't feel in our power, and it's giving us an alert, right? So right now, I want you to think about what makes you feel powerful. So I know for me, when I think about what makes me feel powerful, sometimes, like I said, thinking about what makes me feel unpowerful, it makes me feel powerful when I feel heard, right? A lot of times when I was younger, I felt very unheard. And so when someone acknowledges what I say, I feel powerful, I feel seen. And when I think about when I don't feel as powerful as when I'm speaking and I still don't feel like I'm heard or understood, what makes you feel powerful? Also, when I feel confident, I feel powerful. When I show up and I know what I'm talking about, I know what I'm teaching. I've done my homework, so to speak. You know, I feel in my power. I feel powerful. Awesome. Feeling satisfied, overcoming yourself, breaking through, clarity, intentionality, confidence, beautiful. Action makes you feel powerful, beautiful. So these are all great things. And as we go through, no right or wrong answers. It's all about you writing it down and creating a list you can come back to when you're not feeling powerful. Taking action also makes me feel powerful, especially with what's going on in the Ukraine, for instance, and you feel helpless and you feel like, oh, I feel powerless. I feel like there's nothing that I can do that's going to change. But then the way you can get in your power is looking at this list. Well, you get clarity, you do your homework and find out, well, what can I do to make a difference? And then once you start doing those things, you automatically feel what? You feel powerful, you feel on purpose, you feel aligned. Right? So it's all about asking yourself, how do I feel powerful? And then drawing that back. Okay, I feel powerful when I take action, whatever it is, whether it be towards a goal or towards just helping someone down the street. You know, I felt good when I just made a donation. Then I felt even better when I shared it with my community. I felt even better when I wrote a newsletter. And the more I took action, the better I felt. And then I also felt heard because I was sharing my perspective and sharing my thoughts and ideas with others. So whatever makes you feel powerful is going to align you with your purpose, right? You're going to feel fully expressed, you feel safe, and you feel like even though you might not do what someone else is doing, or you might not be able to be there and help physically, you still feel empowered because you're doing something that's on your list of what it means to be powerful, and that aligns you with your purpose.
This can be your day for personal growth. This can be that day you committed to and you remember and you go, that was the day I got myself a community. I got better coaches. I committed to making my life the absolute best that I could. This is that day. Make today your growth day. Click the button on this page and sign up right now.